there is snow all over the trail. It's Scrambles, and I'm back out on the Appalachian Trail, and I'm trying to finish up the hole in that section between Lehigh Gap and Delaware Water Gap. So I'm going to be out both days this weekend. I'm working from Smith Gap Road to Wind Gap today. And then tomorrow I will do Wind Gap to Fox Gap, Route 191, and that'll complete this piece of the section for me. And the other thing is I will let you know how this section of trail is as far as the infamous Pennsylvania rocks go. I've got about 17 miles to do this weekend. I've gone about 1.5 miles to 2 miles so far, and the rocks aren't bad. There are definitely rocks in the trail. It's hampering my stride a little bit as I try to step around them all, but nothing horribly significant. But like I said, I planned for the possibility of walking slower by making 2 8.5-mile days this weekend. I have my new crampons, and they fit well on my boots. I'm wearing the Hoka Speed Goat Trail Runners, and they're doing a great job on the trail also. Look what I just found popping up out of the snow. All right, here are some bigger rocks. What's hampering my forward progress more so than the rocks that I'm stepping around are actually all of the blowdowns and droopy trees that are blocking the trail and making it harder to move along. So I have to go around and over and under a lot of those today. I'm about 1.5 miles from Wind Gap. And I have to say that the rocks in this section have not been horrible. If you rate them as A being perfectly smooth, cruisy trail, and D being the worst a trail could be walkie-wise, like when you start yelling at the trail saying, "Come on, Pennsylvania, is that all you got?" That would be a D. So I'd have to say that today was probably about a B, with maybe a couple little sections here and there that would be a distinct B minus. So it was not horrible. Now, again, that being said, I generally hike in New York, which is also rocky. So this area here is marked as a campsite on the Far Out Guide. And I briefly considered stopping here and using this as my campsite and continuing on from here tomorrow. But there are several reasons why I decided not to do that. Number one, there was no water source nearby. Now, had I known there was going to be snow, which is a perfectly good water source in an emergency, that might have been different. And it's also January. Didn't really want to camp in January. The other reason is that the plan is for my husband to drive out and hike with me tomorrow. So he's going to meet me tonight. And because he's at work, he's going to be here after it gets dark. So trying to find each other at a campsite in the woods, not the best idea. So I opted for getting a room at a motel. So when I get down to Wind Gap, that's what I'm going to do. And then tomorrow morning, we will continue on from Wind Gap. So then the question becomes, is this really considered a backpacking trip if I'm not camping at the campsite? Or am I just stringing 2 day hikes together? I'm okay with calling it either one. But there are plenty of people who slack pack sections of the AT and stay at hostels, and they're still considered backpacking when they do that. So if I'm out for multiple days, continuing along the same section, can I call this a backpacking weekend? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I think I need a snack break. Back at the power line, I had half of a veggie wrap for lunch. Right now I'm having a Cliff Bar snack and some hot chocolate because this is a perfect sitting rock. And it's also time for me to take off the crampons because the snow is starting to get lighter. So the trail is now starting to descend from the ridge down toward Wind Gap, and the snow is disappearing. Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, the following morning, and today I have my husband with me.
Hey there, everybody.
So we're starting by climbing up out of Wind Gap. It's the only real climb of the day. It's not a very long climb, but
For us out of shape people, it is.
it'll certainly warm us up because right now it's still pretty chilly.
It's like 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's mostly a ridge walk. So I'll let you know what the Pennsylvania rocks look like today. Looks like we're reaching the top of the ridge. You can see that the trail is kind of rocky. Well, to balance out the sections that are a C+ for rocks, we have some sections that are an A-. There haven't been any views to speak of or to show, and that's probably pretty good because I am spending most of the time looking down at my feet, negotiating in and around the rocks. So we're having a little snack break. I'm having a lemon Larabar.
We found a rock to sit on.
Yep.
What a surprise.
We're actually trying to make the best of the Pennsylvania rocks by playing a little rock game. You know how when you look at the clouds and the clouds look like shapes? So we're doing that with the rocks. Oh, look, that one looks like a hiking boot.
Yeah.
That one looks like a camel.
I found a hammer.
And a hammer, yep. So we've been finding rocks that look like different shapes. So we are approaching Wolf Rocks, which is a outcropping, from what I understand, an exposed outcropping. And this is the bypass to be able to go around it in bad weather. But it seems okay. The trail doesn't seem, too icy or problematic. So we are going straight to Wolf Rocks. We're not going to go around it. So, in case you haven't noticed, my husband's favorite color combination is red, white, and blue.
That's right.
I, on the other hand, like a blue and green. And even together, my favorite color is probably aqua. So if you look back at a lot of my videos, a lot of the things I wear are an aqua or a teal or anything in the blue to green range. That tends to be my preferred color palette. Lunchtime, we're having lunch on Wolf Rocks. We are sharing some black bean soup and some hot chocolate. found more rocks to sit on and enjoy and hop around on. I can definitely see why they would put a bad weather bypass in for, particularly if it's like snowy and icy up here. It would be a little trickier, but it's a beautiful spot. A little trickier with the ice. Certainly doable if you take your time.
There's our white blaze. What's that?
See the logs in front of it?
Yeah.
That means don't go that way. Our white blazes are there.
Oh.
And this is the other end of that bad weather bypass. Overall, as far as rocks go, today's a little difficult to grade. Some sections were kind of easy, like this, and I'd give them an A-. Other sections were really tough, and I'd give them more like a C, maybe C+, depending. Overall, I'd say the average and the majority of the day was probably about a B-. Slightly more rocky today than yesterday overall. And some of the stretches that were rocky went on for a little bit longer. So, what did you think of the Pennsylvania rocks today?
Well, I'm happy that we did the uphill first. I think that would have been a more difficult downhill after doing the 8 miles anyway. It seems like right now we've got a reasonably flat exit. The rocks, yeah, I can understand why people complain about them. They were rough on my feet, for sure.
Yeah. We're almost back to the car. And once we reach the car, I will have finished this region of Pennsylvania, not the whole state, but this area. And so once I hit the car, I will be able to say that I've done the section of the Appalachian Trail from Lehigh Gap, Pennsylvania, to the border of Massachusetts. Thanks for coming hiking with us today, and we'll see you down the trail.